Phil Hendrie Show at 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. Let's see here. What am I doing? All right, we're going to bring on Jim Sadler in just a moment. Dr. Jim Sadler's written a good book, a fascinating book anyway, on, what was that, yoga, right? Okay. I'm ready. Jim Sadler is with us. Yoga, believe it or not, is making a comeback in America. Now, yoga was a big thing. If you guys don't know what yoga is, what would you call yoga? Yoga is a system of a physical fitness system that was originated 5,000 years ago in India, and it has a lot of those physical postures that many of you are familiar with, the cross-legged pose, there's some stretching, etc. Jim Sadler, who was a student of yoga, of Hatha Yoga, is on the line with us this evening from Los Angeles. Hi, Jim. How are you?
Phil, I'm doing very well, thank you.
All right, now you studied Hatha Yoga in Amritsar, India, and this was in the 60s and 70s. You claim to have achieved the first, second, and what you call the level of wonderment, a third level of yoga. This was Hatha Yoga, physical yoga, and you claim that it's a cult, correct?
I believe it is a cult, and I think that I've had the experience to prove that it is a cult. And for people who are not familiar with yoga, it presents itself as a physical fitness system, but it's far, far, far more than that. It is a system of stretching, a system of what they call, Phil, asanas.
Asanas.
Asanas. This is a Sanskrit word for posture, the physicality of Hatha Yoga.
Are there many different kinds of yoga?
There are. There is Hatha Yoga, which is a physical yoga. Most of the asanas or postures we know from Hatha Yoga. Kriya Yoga, which is a meditation. Tantra Yoga, which involves sexual energy. A great many different kinds of systems of yoga, which is the disciplining of the mind and the body. But my study of yoga became a journey of self-discovery and a discovery of what I thought was a system that was going to enhance my physical life was really a cult.
Now, what do you call a cult? What would you call a cult?
Well, I think a cult is an organization of people who preach one thing and are really going after something else. The goal, as it was taught me of yoga, is self-fulfillment. And I believed that that was a self-fulfillment based upon the enhancement of one's mind and body, the disciplining of the body in order to enhance the mind. What I found out was that yoga was a cult populated by very narcissistic, very egocentric, self-involved people. My credentials, I think, are pretty strong in this area. As I said, I studied yoga in Amritsar, India, at the Hatha Yoga Institute. I have studied different asanas, which are supposed to give you better circulation and are supposed to give you better flexibility.
All right, we're talking with Jim Sadler, who is a former student of Hatha Yoga. Yoga is making a comeback, and he claims that yoga is a cult, and that is, I guess you're saying, it is a destructive discipline.
I believe it's very destructive, Phil, and I believe there is a hidden agenda with a lot of these so-called yogis and so-called aesthetics who are teaching this.
Okay, my question is, first off, what do these postures, the so-called asanas, when I've seen these people standing on their head and...
Right, there are different postures. You can do stretching, lifting the legs up over the head and touching the feet on the floor behind you. Yes, headstands, shoulder stands. There is one called the Cobra, which is supposed to be for upper body strength, where you push yourself off the floor, bending the spine back, keeping the pelvis flat on the floor. These are all different postures which are supposed to lead you to greater flexibility. That is the claim.
All right, now, these asanas, that you say that's the claim. That's not what they're really for?
There is a hidden agenda, and they claim that the purpose of yoga is for self-fulfillment. I was invited to a seminar on yoga and the self-realized in Mill Valley, California in 1990, and actually it's up near Los Gatos still in 1996. It was billed as a seminar which featured a great many yogis who were self-realized.
What do you mean by self-realized?
These are people who have supposedly meditated and transcended. But we're talking about self-fulfillment in the world of the yogi, not as you and I understand it.
All right, so self-fulfillment and self-realization, as you and I understand it, is not what they mean in yoga.
No, and I'm going to tell you that I was shocked. I went to this seminar. It was up near Los Gatos, California. I walked into a room where there were 10 to 15 men and women. And just as an example, and the men had achieved such flexibility that I suddenly realized what they meant by self-fulfillment. They were giving themselves blowjobs.
All right, whoa. You got to watch your language.
I'm sorry?
You have to watch your language, and you have to watch what it is that you're saying on the show. What are you...
Well, I'm telling you that I don't know what you want to call it, giving themselves BJs.
Are you telling me that these people were so flexible, the men?
What I'm trying to say to you, Mr. Hendrie, is the claim of self-fulfillment in yoga is not as you and I understand it.
The claim of self-fulfillment in yoga is to get so flexible.
You can give you know, if you're a woman, you can give yourself a deep dive. I don't know what...
Is to perform oral sex on yourself.
Yeah, that's why I told you screener. In other words, this self-fulfillment in yoga
is completely sexual in nature.
Completely. Now, I was shocked. I saw these men and women performing oral sex on themselves.
So you're telling me that this yoga makes you so flexible, you can pull your knees behind your own ears.
You got it. You got it. And imagine the fun you can have. Now, I learned this technique. I achieved the level of first level. I achieved the level of awareness. And I finally achieved the level of wonderment.
And what is the level of wonderment is what? That's
when you can put your mouth on yourself.
The level of wonderment.
Right. I was addicted. 3-4 times a day I was doing this. Thank God that I was able, through a cult deprogramming organization, to extricate myself from this, and I have rid myself of this very destructive desired ability. So you see... All
right, so you're telling me that in yoga, the goal is to be able to give yourself...
A BJ, yeah. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm stunned.
Well, I was a member of a yoga cult, so I know.
And that's what all of those exercises are for. All that stretching, all
the stretching, all of the deep breathing, everything. It's to go one goal and one goal alone.
Give yourself a Hummer.
Give yourself a Lewinsky, right.
Will you hold on, please?
Sure.
All right. Phil Hendrie, 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. Jim Sadler is with us and has studied yoga for a number of years and claims that it is some kind of a cult which instructs its practitioners on how to give themselves oral sex. Jim, you say you witnessed this.
Yes, I did.
All right. Where did you witness this?
I witnessed this in Los Gatos, California, 3 years ago.
10 to 15 guys in a room.
All of them, yeah.
All right, here is Houston on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello. Houston, hello.
Yeah, this is Richard in Houston.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Fine.
Just as far as, this talk about all of the yoga people are into this, I don't see that. I've had a yoga class. I know a lady who's an instructor. I've met other people that have done it, and I've never heard anything like this. I mean, he may got hooked up with a group of...
I was in Los Gatos, California, this is 3 years ago, and I don't know if you know Ronald Benjamin, who is a prominent instructor in Northern California.
No.
You don't know the gentleman? No. I walked into a room of 10 to 15 men and women orally pleasuring themselves.
Well, that's fine, but to say all yoga is geared towards that, I think that, you can't say that. That's not true. I mean, just because you hooked up with a group of people that were doing something like that, it's a little, reach to say everybody's goal in doing yoga is to go give himself oral pleasure.
Well, that's what I was told. And I was instructed to...
You say, Mr. Sadler, that you learned how to do this?
I was instructed to do this, yes. And I suffered, and I say suffered, I suppose it's relative, but I went through a very demeaning and humiliating period of my life practicing this.
Well, yeah, but, that's not to say all yoga does. I mean, you probably should have did a little more research and just taken somebody's word at it, especially something like that. I mean,
Yeah, the man is making some sense. What is your name, sir? It's Richard.
Richard.
Richard in Houston. The man's making some sense because...
Well, Phil, I'm only telling you what was my experience with this group of individuals who I studied with, both here in the United States and in India. And I was told that self-fulfillment was the goal. And the next thing I know, I walk into a room full of people sucking on themselves, and you could have knocked me over with a feather.
Well,
I think you should probably do a little more research. Check out some other.
Well, what are you gentlemen saying? You're saying that I'm crazy? I didn't see what I saw?
No, sir.
I'm not saying it didn't happen to you.
Right.
I'm sure it did. I'm not calling you a liar, but what I'm saying is you're sitting here saying that the goal of all people in yoga is to do this, and I'm telling you that's a lie.
You're telling me...
As far as I know, that's just, I've never heard of that. I know an instructor, I've known people, and I've never heard of that at all.
All right. So you're telling me the goal of yoga is not to give yourself a blowjob. Because,
sir, I have to ask you to please watch your language.
I'm sorry, but you're telling me that that's not what they mean by self-fulfillment.
I imagine that, like most things in life, self-fulfillment for people are different based on who you talk to. I'm just telling you that I've never heard of this of any of the people I've known that have been in yoga. No.
What kind of yoga do you teach, Richard?
I don't teach yoga. A friend of mine, I know this lady that teaches yoga, and I couldn't quote you if it's any particular type.
What kind do you practice?
Yeah, I'd be interested. Do you practice hatha yoga?
Oh, I've only had like one class. It was an introduction to yoga.
Sir, I hardly see where you're in a position to. I would, if you're just starting out, I'd watch out.
Well, I guess this really good friend I've known from years who's an instructor...
No, I'm not saying that person would do. What I'm saying is there's a position in yoga, Phil. It is the reverse cobra, where you drop your knees behind your ears.
Oh, yeah. Well,
watch out.
All kinds of wild positions. But I don't think that necessarily means it's geared towards giving you oral sex.
Well, what do you think that's for, then? I mean, come on.
Who knows? I mean, maybe some people find it in meditation, or they just want to be stretched and flexible. It's a health thing.
I would say to the gentleman, if they ever tell you to put your knees behind your ears, get up and leave. Okay?
Well, somehow I think that even if I got
wait a second.
Point,
maybe there's some stretching for the lower back. Maybe there's some...
Oh, come on. Ears behind... Your knees behind your ears? Both of you guys.
Well, once again, maybe...
Look, I don't know.
Just because you put your ears behind, your knees behind your ears doesn't mean you got to put something in your mouth, man. That's a choice.
Well, I know it's a choice. I mean,
then you made a choice to do something, and now you're blaming all of yoga because you obviously were. What led you to that point?
Well, let me ask you a question. if you had the ability to put your knees behind your ears and there it is, wouldn't you put it in your mouth?
All right, I'm beginning to see.
No,
okay.
No. I know some people that will do that for me. I don't have to do it myself.
Well, wait a second.
Okay, I think I see what's happened here. You say you were taught how to do this. This is something you did of your own volition. Like the man said, it's a choice. It's a choice. You know, you take up yoga, you somehow learn this position where you can put your knees behind your ears, and the next thing you know, I guess you're confronted with this, and you decided to put that thing in your mouth.
Well, wouldn't you? You're telling me you wouldn't?
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, crap.
Come on.
What you're saying is that the whole world has to do something because you did it? I mean, geez, what do you think? We're not a bunch of clones. We're individuals, and just because you make a choice doesn't mean we're going to make the same choice.
You're telling me you wouldn't do that?
That's what both of us are saying, and what I'm also further saying is you made a choice, and you're telling me you were programmed by a cult.
I believe that I was.
Well, it doesn't sound like it to me. Sounds like a bunch of you clowns in a yoga class someplace.
Well, you know, Phil, you can laugh.
Well, it's hysterical. You clowns in a yoga class somewhere decided you teach yourselves how to do this. And you,
I say, hey, let's cut this short, but I'm on a card.
Now you got to cut
say
it.
that, I think that you were led astray by some people that had their own little weird, warped little thing going on there. But you can't say that it's the goal of all people in yoga because I know that to not be true. And have a good night.
I dare you, once you learn how to put your knees behind your ears, to keep it out of your mouth. I dare you. I dare you.
Well, maybe you ought to find out what's leading you into your sexual problems. You know, I mean, were you molested as a child by your parents or something?
Wait, what is that supposed to mean?
Well, a lot of people that get trapped in these type of cults that have a lot to do with sex have history of sexual abuse. It's a statistic.
It's got nothing to do with sexual abuse. You put your knees behind your ears and that thing's hanging in front of your face.
Well, what I'm saying is that maybe you did it because of what happened to you in your younger life.
It's a good point. Thank you, sir, for your call. The Phil Hendrie Show. It's Phil Hendrie Show at 1-800-449-8686. I learned certain positions in yoga. Wow. What a mental case. Guy thinks it's a cult. The guy just happens upon something in his own experience, begins doing it, sees about 3 or 4 other guys doing it, and he thinks it's a cult. Some sick animals out there. There used to be yoga shows on in the 60s when I was a kid. And I think they say that it's coming back. I don't know. I mean, I knew people who did it. Like my stepmom, she had some kind of wild ass yoga book, where you're stretching, you're putting your knees behind your ears. But I didn't actually see people do it. But this guy, man, he walked into a room, there's like 10 guys, 10 men and women in there with their knees behind their ears. What are you going to do? You can't beat that. $72,466.50 is the money that we made so far this year on the Best of the Phil Hendrie Show CD, and we really appreciate that. And, of course, it is available at the PhilHendrieShow.com website, and you can pick it up and order it online, and all the money goes to my friend's place, a resource center for homeless and runaway kids in Hollywood. And tomorrow I'm going to be doing the PA announcing at the kids' school. Big deal, right? Well, it's, night off for me. They have like 5 different basketball games, and, I'm going to be standing up there on the stage with a microphone in my hand announcing. It's Spirit Night. It's fun. The principal called me up, asked me to do it. I said, yeah, I'd be very, very, very happy to do it. I'd like to become a little bit more involved in the kids' activities. I don't want to be one of these bum stepdads that's sort of just passing like ships passing in the night, just comes in, sleeps, eats, and leaves, although I would prefer it, but I guess I can't be that way. No, I'm going to be involved in their lives. That's good. They're very proud, and they're happy to have me there. I'm not going to do any shtick. The teacher called and said, Phil, we'd love to have you, but please don't do shtick. I said, I understand. There's kids there. We won't. So we'll be doing that, and then we'll have pizza afterwards and go home, and then we'll really start to break into the weekend. We'll pop the old tequila bottle, and then we're going to take the kids secretly whale watching on Saturday and watch them puke their guts up all over the place as we watch the beautiful whales swimming beautifully down the coast of California on their way to Mexico. It's whale watching time here in Southern California. And those of you who live on the East Coast, is there any whale watching going on? I don't know. Maybe there's some whales out there someplace. I know Mexico. I was in Mexico last year. You could see them. But this is whale watching time, and, we're going to take the kids, and they get seasick, so they'll probably be pitching their guts up over the side. But, you got to break them in somehow. You get seasick once, man, you never seasick again. That Dramamine only puts off the inevitable. You're popping that Dramamine, Jim, you might as well just chill on that. Stick your face over the side, pitch your guts up into the ocean, and get it over with. Because that Dramamine, all that does is put your rear end to sleep. When you ought to be looking at the whales, you're passed out dead drunk on the deck. People stepping over you. People from Michigan stepping over you. While the whales go swimming by. Spouting and jumping out of the water. All kinds of cool stuff. It's a gas. And I got a guy there from the Cetacean Society. Tells you all about the whales. I saw one leap out of the water. You never seen anything like it before in your life. We see a whale they call breaching, just sailing right out of the water. But we ain't told the kids yet, because if we tell them ahead of time, they're going to scream and bitch and moan and bellyache. They don't want to go on a boat. They want to go look at whales. They don't want to waste their time. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. So we're going to spring it on them. We're going to have a nice brunch, and then we're going to drive down to the harbor, and as we're walking onto the boat, they're going to go, "What the hell are you doing?" And it's too late, man. I'll close the gate behind them. And then watch the panic and the fear spread across their faces as you hear, and the thing is on its way out the harbor there, through the jetty into whale country. These kids, I love the kids, but boy, are they gut. I mean, there's just, they lack a little bit in the way of guts when it comes to certain things. Tried to sign them up for a sailing regatta one year. Oh, my God. You'd have thought they were being dragged off to the gas chamber. Crying and, I mean, really. What am I? I'm telling you guys to go sailing? I don't know. Do you remember Cheswick in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Remember when they were dragging him off for the electroshock? He's going, "I don't want to go. I don't want to go." Remember, that's the kids. They're like screaming their guts loose. And thank God, Marie and I got the same philosophy. She says, just throw them in, man. Just throw them into these experiences. Kids don't know what they want till you throw them into the experience. You going to listen to them? They don't know what they want to do. They don't know what they want to eat. They don't know where they want to go. They don't want to. They only know what's familiar. And the funny thing about a kid is they seem to be adventurous, but they're like little old ladies when it comes to certain things, like food, for instance. You ought to watch a kid approach a table of food he's never seen before in his life. He's like a grandmother. He's what are those blue things? The peas are touching the potatoes. It's the most incredible thing you've ever seen in your life. Not that I wasn't like that as a kid. I was exactly like that. If the peas touched the mashed potatoes, I wanted to pull a shotgun out of my head. I want to pull it out of my head. I wanted to stick one in my head. I wanted to pull a shotgun out of my pants, put it in my mouth, and you know the rest. Put my knees behind my ears, and you know the rest. That's the way it is, But boy, you talk about it like little grandmothers. Just, well, what is that? Ooh, and ooh, what is that? And everything. I walked in there one morning, and Catherine had done something. She'd made about 6 different grilled cheese sandwiches, and they're all laying, like one of them's in the garbage, a couple are in the sink on the floor. She said, "What is this? What are you doing, man?" The toast it's too toasted. It's like it's not perfect. So I said, "Well, do you mind?" She said, "Not at all. I ate them. I picked them up off the floor. Started eating this crap." Screaming and crying and belly aching, man. But you know what? They're kids, so you got to force them into this stuff. Don't sit there and tell me, "Well, I asked them and they're too young," and then maybe they're scared. You just push them right into the thing. They're going to love it. Love it. Love it. I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen on Saturday. We're taking the guys. They got to do a math test. Catherine's got a basketball game. We're going to go have brunch, and then we're going to go on down to the harbor, and we're going to get them on the boat, and they're going to scream and cry and wail and moan and wet their pants, and we may have to actually literally pick them up and carry them on that thing, and we'll get out and we'll see the whales. They'll be vomiting over the side, but when we come back, they'll know they've had a good time, peeing in their pants and vomiting. What better time for a kid? So what we're asking them to do is to go onto the boat with us Saturday, pee in their pants, and vomit. It'll be great. Come on, you guys. A whole afternoon of puking. It's going to be wonderful. wetting yourselves and vomiting. Don't tell me that wouldn't be a good... Come on. You'll have a great time. My old man was a sailor. He had a sailboat, and we used to take friends out on a sailboat on the weekend. We used to go out to Newport Beach, out the jetty. And I went with him. I was his little crew man. I was the little crew guy that my dad had. And we used to sail to Catalina, and I had to, all kinds of... I mean, I learned how to sail with my father, this 33-foot sailboat. And every weekend, he'd invite another guy from the office. Hey, Philip. Yeah, Dad. Mr. Weimer's coming with us this weekend. Oh, okay, Dad. And it'd be another guy pitching his guts up over the side all afternoon. And Philip. Yeah, Dad. Mr. Ryan's coming with us this... Oh, okay, Dad. And there's Mr. Ryan. Wah! 3 hours, all the Spanish peanuts, all of the Triscuits, all of the beer. Bwarv! Hey, Philip. Yeah, Dad. Mr. Lindgren's coming. Okay, Dad. Brag! So there's 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row of these business partners of my father pitching their guts up over the side. And guess who's hosing it off when we got back? Ma. I didn't say ma. I said moi. Just imagine that. Different guys with different sweaters, different slacks, different haircuts, but all of them big. Different stuff coming out of their mouth. Same reaction, though. Hey, finally I said to my dad, what are you doing? I'm 10. What are you doing exactly here, man? Well, I'm inviting the guys from the office. Come out and have a good time. They ain't having a good time, man. They're coming out here and they're pitching their guts up. They're going out there on the bounding main with the waves going up and down. These guys ain't having a good time. Let me clue you in on this one, Dad. They're not having a good time. On my father's deathbed, as he was leaving this earth, as he was leaving this world, I leaned over, I kissed him, and I said, Dad, those cats weren't having a good time. I know, for Christ's sake, let me die. They were not having a good... Do you understand? Finally! Oh, and then he'd have all the families coming out. I mean, look at, here's the bottom. Some people belong on a boat and some people don't. Some people belong out there on the bounding main and some people can't. Me, I have a good time. Sometimes I tolerate it. I can get by, okay? I can actually sail a boat and it's okay, all right? But you can't. Some people are miserable. And on a sailboat, forget it. Because the things, a powerboat cuts through the waves. A sailboat goes up and down on the waves. Now there's lines that you got to winch in, and there's sails that got to be trimmed, and there's the way you got to, have the tiller, and you got to make sure that it's the telltales and all that crap. And you heel it, because my old man was big on heeling that thing, which means you ever see those sailboats that kind of tilt in the water, so you got that freaking keel underneath, that 2,000 pounds of lead is coming up out of the water. You think you're going to spin that thing around like you're in the middle of a typhoon. And, oh, yeah, I mean, he's having a ball here. Look at this, man. And there's the water coming up on the side. And some people, they just do not get that. They don't want to be there. And my father, of course, went around the office during the week pitching him on this thing. It's a great experience, sailing. Well, you love to go into the rig. And the next thing you know, there's Mr. Weimer, there's Mrs. Weimer, and the 3 kids all wig right over the side, man. 5 of them lined up. Barv. And at the end, there I am standing there with a garden hose by Mr. Some people belong on a freaking boat, and some people just stay away, okay? And don't try to get them to dig it. Now, when they're kids, that's different. You got to force them into these experiences. Kids will go out there. We'll find out who likes it. My bet is Catherine, the youngest, and the girl, she'll have no problem. The other 3 boys, they'll pitch their guts up. That's my bet. That's just the way it works. That's the way it works in our family. The 3 guys... Biggest scaredy cat you ever saw. The little 8-year-old girl, man, she'll walk, she'll go anywhere. She'll do anything. She just, give her the lightsaber, man. She's having at it. It's the Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show. There's a Kennedy nephew that they wanted to pop for murder. I guess they already have, or, yeah. And this has got to be the longest running April Fool's gag that I've ever heard of, man. When is it going to stop with me reading about a Kennedy, either something being done to him or him doing something to somebody, and I don't know whether any of it's true or not. William Kennedy Smith, John Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, JFK Jr., Joe, or maybe it's just my imagination. Maybe people have just been feeding me this stuff for so long. I think I'm aware of it, but I'm not really. For instance, John Kennedy died. Robert Kennedy died. I understand. They had to remind me about Joe Kennedy, and they had to remind me about me. I wasn't even around for that. And Mary Kennedy, let's not forget her. And here's another thing that happened bad. I bet you looked into any family, there's enough crap going on. Not that my family has had this kind of tragedy visited on them, but in smaller scale, we've had problems. You know, my folks are divorced. I've had my little run-ins with the law. I can't pay my bills on time. My sister, you know, she's got problems with a car. Every family's got a problem. But this thing with the Kennedys, first there's a guy dying. There's somebody else getting busted. There's somebody else not getting popped. This is a murder rap hanging over some nephew of Robert F. Kennedy, Michael Skakel. I think it's a gag. I think somebody has just constructed this thing as just one big fat gag. Maybe this cat ain't even related to a Kennedy. Skakel, 25-year-old murder rap, 39. They claim he must have done this job when he was 14. Rushton Skakel is the brother of Ethel Kennedy, widow of RFK. Skakel's attorney, Michael Sherman, said his client was innocent and welcomed the chance to prove it. Michael has stated all along that he did not do this. Sherman said he had no knowledge of it, he had no part in it, he's not guilty. Because Skakel was 15 when Moxley was killed, the case will be handled, at least initially, in juvenile court. Is this some kind of a thing? They've been dogging this guy for 25 years on this? It's got to be a joke. It's like every year somebody says, we had any Kennedys in the news lately? Let's go out and pop one of them, all right? Let's go out and bug one of them. Something. Come on. Oh, come on. It's fun. Ain't Teddy fallen down and gotten drunk someplace lately, man? Ain't he fallen out of a restaurant or out of a car? What are they doing down there at that mansion? Let's get that high-powered lens. Let's get the big offshore photographs, okay? Let's rent a helicopter, man. Let's spend a weekend in West Palm Beach. That's bullcrap. I say the kid's innocent. You want to know why? Law of averages, okay? I'm tired of hearing about this stuff. Can't be for real. And by the way, John Rocker, what a chicken. Not that I agree with what the guy said, but, you know, he's got to back off of what he said so easily. Hey, excuse me, man. In Russia, they put you in the nut house for saying what you want to say. Not in America. In America, supposedly you can say what you want to say and walk down the street. Sure, somebody may drop an onion on you or something, or a rotten tomato. But this cat said what he wanted to say. They're going to give him psychological counseling. They're going to send him to a head shrinker. They're going to put him in a psychiatric hospital. Don't this guy back up what he said? Hey, John, what a pussy. First of all, I didn't like it because you said what you said. Now I really don't like it because you backed off of it.